Hello students, I am Professor Prakash Naik, HOD of BCE Department, Anjuman Institute of Management and Computer Application Medical. In today's session, we shall learn about information gathering in System Management Design for BCA 4th semester of Karnataka University of Dharwad. Okay, let us know what exactly is information gathering. Information gathering is a technique to gather information from the system. It may be a computerized system or it may be a manual system. Information gathering is considered as both an art and a science. It is called a science because it requires proper methodology and proper tools in order to be effective. To gather the information in an effective manner, what we do is we use certain new things, we use certain methodologies, and we use certain new tools for it. And it is an art because it requires lot of mental dexterity to achieve best result. Now the meaning of dexterity is skills in performing the task. That means what? It requires lot of mental skills to achieve the best result. Okay. Now, the approach and manner in which the information is gathered requires persons with the following. One is the person must have a common sense. He should have some ideas. That is an innovative ideas. He should have a knowledge of what and when to gather the information. And he should know what channels that has to be used in securing the information. The methodology and tools for information gathering requires training and experience that the analyst is expected to have. This means whatever methodology and tools the analyst uses for information gathering, it requires proper training. That means what? He must be trained to use those tools. He must be trained to use those methodologies. And also, he must have an appropriate experience in those methodologies and tools. Is information gathering easy? No. Information gathering is not so easy because it requires much of preparation, experience, and training. Okay, this is about the introduction to information gathering. Now we shall know certain categories of information gathering. Now, the kinds of information or the categories of information are information about firms, information about user staff, information about workflow. Now let us learn one by one. But before that, see this picture on the computer screen. The organization means firm, user staff and the work staff or the workflow. Now this organization firm, so what kind of information it gathers? It gathers policies, it gathers goals, it gathers objectives, it gathers organization structure. About user staff, what kind of information it gathers? It gathers the information about authority relationships, job functions, information requirement, and interpersonal relationship. As far as workflow is concerned, it gathers information about workflow, methods and procedures, and working schedules. So all these are information gathering types or categories. Now let us learn in detail about each of these, that is firm, user staff and workflow. information about firm. The information about firm or the information about organization includes policies, goals, objectives, and structures that explains the kind of information that promotes or hinders the introduction of computer-based system. What is that? It's nothing but policies, goals, objectives, and structures that explains what kind of information that promotes or that persuades, that means hinders, the introduction of computer-based system. Now, what are the policies? Policies are guidelines that determine how to conduct the businesses. These policies are translated into rules and procedures for achieving the goals. That means the companies have certain policies, the companies have certain rules, and those rules has to be followed for achieving a goal. Now, a statement of goal describes management's commitment to objectives and direction system flow development will follow. The objectives are milestones of accomplishment towards achieving the goals. What is an objective? They are milestones. Now every company will be having certain objectives. I have to achieve this. We have to do like this. The sales should be so, turnover should be so and so. These are the objectives. What are these? These are milestones of accomplishment for achieving the goals. Information from the employee manuals, orientation pamphlets, and annual company reports. That means the milestones for achieving goals are taken from employee manuals, orientation pamphlets, and the annual company reports. After the policies and goals are set, the firm is organized to meet these goals. That means every company should have certain policies and should have certain objectives so that the goals are achieved. Now, coming to information about users stuff. This is another kind of information for analysis. It is about the people who run the current system, who run the present system, their job functions, and the information requirement, the relationship of their jobs to the existing system or the current system. For example, we have a programmer. What is his role? His role is to code the program. We have a data entry operator. What is his role? His role is to enter the data into the computer system. We have the designer, a database designer. What is his role? His role is to design the database. So here we focus on people's roles, authority, relationships, job status, and the functions. In a summary, the major focus is to find out what people and the analyst is going to deal with and what each person's expect to get from the candidate system. The candidate system means the proposed system or the new system before it goes through the design and final implementation. That means before the new software has been developed, what each people are to do with the system. What is their role in the new system? These major focus is to be found out. Now, information about the workflow. What is workflow? How the working takes place in the organization, the workflow. In the organization, the information flows from one department to other department or from one person to another person. The workflow focuses on what happens to the data through various points in the system. That means what? As and when it reaches some other subsystem, what happens to the data? How the data is molded, how the data is transferred, or how the data is processed. So this can be shown by the help of data flow diagram or a system flow chart. The data flow diagram will represent the information generated at each processing point in the system and the direction it takes from the source to the destination. Now we see this data flow diagram with one example. So here we have an example about customer order processing. You can see here we have three processes. One is ship order, one is receive order, one is handle invalid order. We have an external entity called as customer. We have a data store called as orders. The customer places an order for certain books. So this order is received by the receive order process. That is the name of the book, the number of copies is been taken by the receive order. Now this receive order, what will do? It will process whether that book exists in the system or not. And if it exists, whether sufficient copies are present or not. So once it is received, and suppose if there is no sufficient order or that book does not exist, it goes to a process called as handle invalid order and gives the clarification to the customer saying that no sufficient order or that book does not exist. And if the sufficient order exists, then the information is stored to a data store, a database called as orders. That is the name of the customer, the date of order, then the title of the book, number of copies. So all these informations are stored to orders. Now these order details are then sent to shipping order. That means to send the particular order. Now here the ordered books invoice is generated and this invoice is sent to the customer so that the customer can make the payment and do the further process. This is one example. I have one more example. This is about student registration system. So here also we have three processes. One is check for availability, then enroll and confirm registration. That's what is given in 1.1, 1.2, 1.3. I have an external entity student. I have a data store courses and one more data store student. Now student fills the registration form. Student fills the registration form and that information is taken by check for availability. That means seat exists or not. Seat exists or not. So depending upon the availability, the information will go to enroll process. Right? The information will go to enroll process. Here, that student's information will be enrolled. He will get one enrollment number. Right? And further, what course he is applied for, that course name has been taken, and it has been sent to the courses database or data store. Now here it checks whether what are the available courses, right? And those available courses are been taken and stored to it. And this information is sent back to enroll so that the registration is confirmed. So after the confirmation, it goes to confirm register, one more process, and the confirmation information will go to the student. Sometimes what happens, a particular student, he may be a student of that institutions already, but he wants to upgrade his course. So there we come across one more data store called as student. Why? Update student information. So his information, many times his name, his course, that may be modified. That modified information again is stored to enrollment, again is confirmed as sent to student. So this is a sample of your data flow diagram. Okay, thanks for watching. We shall meet in the next video and learn more about information gathering tools. Thank you.